Landman is set out in West Texas in the oil fields as we follow Tommy Norris and his family as he navigates the complicated world of big oil. Starring Billy Bob Thornton, this is, for me, a defining role for him. He's an old school worker that, to be frank, reminds me a lot of my own father. He's a firefighter. It's his job to deal with all sorts of problems and find solutions. I don't come from a family with a lot of roughnecks, but I do come from a workhorse family, and I think a lot of my favorite aspects of this whole show is Tommy's relationship with his son Cooper. He loves him, but he also wants what's best for him. Cooper was one semester away from graduating college, but instead chooses to work the patch. Come to find out, it's because he wants to become a landman himself. Cooper understands that in order to run an oil company, he'll need to learn every aspect from the ground up. And I respect that, but Tommy is still worried for his son. Two workplace accidents in under a week, plus a fierce beatdown, put Cooper in the hospital and Tommy on the warpath. Tommy even says at one point, Cooper isn't mean enough for this line of work, which, to be honest, is true. And I really like their dynamic and aspect, and I think that's why I really enjoyed this show. I see a lot of aspects of my father in Tommy, and I see a lot of aspects, to be frank, in myself, in Cooper. The whole need to prove yourself, the idea of not always heeding your dad's warning because you need to do this. Even if you fail, you need to be the one to fail. Which is actually a common trope in this show, the idea of losers, failures, and dreamers. But going back to Cooper being a good man, look, there are some jobs in some places where there is no place for a good man, or at least no room for a person with moral character. The old adage of the world being a mean and nasty place is warranted. The patch is a harsh environment, and this show constantly reminds us of that fact. At one point, Ainsley, Tommy's daughter, calls her brother a loser for going to work on the patch, not realizing she wounded her father. Tommy says everyone that comes out here is a loser or a dreamer. The patch is a place where people go to try and make something of themselves. Most fail, but at least they have the gumption to try. Then there is the discussion of the crash of 2008, when Tommy and his family lost everything. It sends his life into a tailspin, and as a result, Tommy and Angela, his ex-wife and now current girlfriend, wife maybe, divorced. In the present, Tommy is having to juggle his issues with Cooper, his relationship with his ex, and now on-again, off-again wife, his daughter, his friends, his boss Monty, and the cartel. His job is one of constant crisis after another, with Monty, aka John Hamm, as his best friend, but also his boss. The cartels in Mexico are breathing down his neck, and I have to imagine going to war with them is not going to be a picnic. It never is. There are a lot of themes at play with this show, but one of the most resonant with me are Tommy and his struggles in the new world. It's easy to lay over and die, but Tommy can't do that. He's an old school. He's the last remnant of a bygone era on some level. He's too good at his job while trying to make his family work. He's trying to have a relationship with his daughter while trying to do right by his loved ones. The effects the oil industry has on the state of Texas is very real, as most people have someone that they know that works the rigs. When times are tough, you see that in the community. It's hauntingly relatable in more ways than one. A few industries can make or break an entire community. I imagine the oil business is to Texas what mining is to those men in Idaho. It's a well-paying but dangerous job most people cannot handle, but those who survive and thrive can quickly find their fortunes growing and be lost in an instant. Now, I will say there are two very glaring problems with the show. One, the portrayal of Hispanics. Look, not every Hispanic that works on the rigs are former criminals. Additionally, why is it that all the male Hispanics are thugs and cowards that jump Cooper in a 5v1, but the one Hispanic female is saved by Cooper? Like, I call bullshit on that one. Taylor, like I do. Second, most of the information that they say about how dependent green energy movement is on big oil is actually a crock of shit. It makes for a compelling show and some great scenes, but most of it's, I recognize that this is a show, and of course there will have to be a lot of fake things, but I'd be remiss if I didn't point out the obvious bullshit on display here. It's a borderline, if not is, a propaganda piece for oil. That's not me trying to get political, that's a fact. That said, I still think the core of this show and Tommy's story I enjoy it. I disagree with the portrayal of Hispanics, but that's another fight for another day. Overall, this show, based on Tommy's story, is a 7 out of 10 for me. That said, what do you think of the show, and why does it resonate better than Yellowstone? Yeah, actually, why is the show better than Yellowstone? Let me know down below, I'd greatly appreciate it, and yeah, I'll catch y'all next time. See you, everybody.